weekend educating myself. I was checking my privilege by watching lots of videos from Lacey Green and BuzzFeed. I can't afford any extra gender studies courses right now. I'm $50,000 in debt. Buy my Hillary drawing. If only there were a presidential candidate offering free college. With a vagina, then I could vote for her. But all of a sudden, BuzzFeed hit me with a dose of reality.
How does it feel to be the same sex as Donald Trump?
You gotta give it to BuzzFeed. They're always asking the questions that keep me awake at night. Why haven't I spoken about Trump in my videos yet? Well, as a person of no color, it would be racist to disagree with a person of color. Orange is a color. Orange lives matter.
Listen, this is probably one of my favorite videos that existed on the now defunct That Is The Plan channel, where your man Watermelon McGee literally loses his mind. He just had a literal prison liquor where he's geeked up on sugar and is just going absolutely nuts, talking about 50 different things in 15 seconds. And his channel was funny. Like, he had a lot of different political videos, as with this one, it's somewhat political because it had to do with Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. And he had some videos that were about race, gender, music. And they were similar to this, where it was basically just a big joke. It was just a big meme. It was just a silly representation of hyperbole and exaggeration. But unfortunately, especially as of late, comedy and jokes some way, somehow get interpreted as being literal. I've seen this at comedy shows. I've seen this on discourse online, where a comedian or a person who's trying to be funny says certain things or does certain things, and it's taking literal.
Why am I losing your table on the nursing material?
Because the nurses are saving the fucking doctor's asses, because that's where the fucked up shit is, and you got the material mixed around.
I'm not trying to be provocative. There's nothing in me that's trying to be like, oh, I'm going out there, I'm going to say some shit about nurses, and I'm going to stir up the pot. Nothing. I'm just fucking making a goddamn joke.
Another thing that I think exists that's even worse is the disingenuous weaponization of certain jokes and certain comedy pieces, where I think people realize it's just a joke and people realize it's just there for comedic effect, but they use it as a weapon in order to either A, make someone stop doing what they're doing, or B, use it as a stepping stone for making themselves feel better. And just for context, this channel that the Watermelon McGee Needle Drop used to run, That Is The Plan, is now defunct. All the videos are unlisted or privatized. And the reason why that is the case is because shortly after his channel started popping off, more people were watching it, you then had a group of people from the website called Fader basically write a hit piece on him, saying that he is someone who is trying to appeal to the alt-right. He's someone who puts memes like Pepe the Frog in his videos, and he puts edgy material in his videos, and he talks about gender and race, and he's low-key putting out these dog whistles to have the racists come flock to him. It's basically like putting milkshakes in the yard and letting all the boys come. You know what you're doing. You build it and they will come. They basically accused him of being a low-key alt-right Alex Jones on the low-low, right? He's basically a closeted conspiracy theorist. And I think this is very terrible in a lot of ways. First of all, I never heard of Fader. I don't know if they have any clout or push, but I can only imagine if BuzzFeed decided to jump on this, or other publications basically want to go ahead and jump on the train. But I think what's terrible about this is that because of this article and because of people associating Mr. Mellon with the alt-right, he actually deleted the channel and created an entire video literally painstakingly breaking down his jokes and painstakingly trying to basically show the stupidity of the argument, which killed the joke, obviously. When you explain a joke, it's terrible. And that video that we just saw, that if you have 2 chromosomes and you have 2 IQ, you're able to put them together and realize it's a joke. He literally had to verbatim explain it step by step.
Another video where I lampooned the idea of changing your gender because of Donald Trump, because I was responding to another video that insinuated that as a man you should feel ashamed that Donald Trump is a guy and you're a guy, as if I'm somehow responsible or feel some kind of connection to him through his masculinity, which I don't. I just think he's a scumbag.
So the rest of this video is very similar to this, where he goes through the different examples that are provided and painstakingly breaks down what satire is, what jokes are, what exactly he was intending. And it really is a weird thing to see in this current age and in this current era, despite the fact that it's become more and more common where people online or comedians or even celebrities, they say certain things, they do certain things. I mean, you have comedians who are getting quote unquote canceled for things that they said years ago, and there's comedians who are basically being lambasted for having certain opinions, and online personalities being lambasted for having certain opinions. And it's very cringeworthy in general, but when it comes to people who are trying to make a joke or people who are explicitly doing it for comedic effect, it becomes something that is, you know, almost it's censorship, but in a different way, where it literally kills the whole vibe. It makes it where you don't even want to bother doing it anymore. And I don't think necessarily saying that it's just a joke, bro, is the ultimate defense, because there's people like Catboy Kami who, unfortunately for now, he lost a lot of his fan base. But at one point in time, he was a somewhat popular streamer. He would do like ridiculous 1930s racism jokes, and it was pretty corny. It was pretty silly. And he did it for the ulterior motive of trying to literally appeal to alt-right people and try to get a following and be an edgelord. Whereas with Mr. Mellon here, he was just doing it for jokes. He was just doing it for satire. And I think most people would realize that even without saying that, especially since he has strong political opinions in his other videos. But I think that when it comes to issues like this, it becomes more and more common where people don't even want to talk about certain subjects or touch things or even make jokes about things, because it ends up turning into this whole political debate, this gigantic cloud of, if you even take that route, if you even say that thing, you're basically going to fund or empower the group that we fear. You know, in 2016, it was ridiculous how many people were afraid of the Donald Trump saga. Like, after he became president, people were literally shaking in their boots. I was in college at the time. There was like therapists set up at my college. There was counselors you could talk to. Like, America was not ready for Donald Trump. Like, Obama was an easier pill to swallow than Donald Trump, all right? The first orange president was some way, somehow harder than the first black president. And I think that really shook up the nation in a lot of ways, and it made a lot of frauds come out and put on their masks and capitalize on that. You had a lot of frauds at MSNBC that were able to come out and capitalize on it. A lot of frauds at Fox News. They came out and capitalized on it. And I think there was a lot of people who just wanted to go with the flow. There was a lot of people who just got sucked into the political debate. So much so that you get to the point now where, like, you make any joke about anything and it somehow turns into a political discussion. And it somehow turns into this weird statement. And it's absolutely amazing and it's absolutely cringeworthy to see. And at the same time, I think that the biggest thing to take away is that this no longer exists. That is the plan, as silly as a channel it was actually funny. There was good content there. There was good intentions there. And because this magazine came out and made these allegations, made these statements, they stifled this person's creativity. They silenced this person's expression. They no longer felt comfortable sharing what they wanted to share with the world. And you basically lost art, okay? Granted, a lot of it was deep fried, crappy memes, but it was funny. There was some good stuff on that channel, man. It was low-key a gold mine. And because of that opinion and because of that fear of having other people coming to ask questions, other people coming and trying to defend yourself, and it turns into this weird thing of like, I'm going to make a joke, guys, but just so you know, this isn't serious. Like, what I'm about to say is just for the joke. And I will give you a 2-minute diatribe about why what I said is bad. And I'll explain to you bit by bit why the joke is okay.
So I'm gonna speak as the expert on funny. Funny people should just be left to trying to be funny.
What if they're not funny?
Then you made a mistake. The attempt is what I'm trying to fight for. The joke may funny jokes and unfunny jokes are come out of the same birth. That you don't know if anything is going to be funny. You should attempt to be able to make anything funny.
At the end of every single video, make sure you ask people to rate and subscribe to your content. It makes them feel like they're involved even though they're really not. And most importantly, make sure they comment on every single video. If you have to, disguise it. You know, call it something like the question of the day. And really make them think you're gonna really read it when you really don't have to. Ha ha ha!